This black on Asian violence is now getting way too routine. You know, my future girlfriend, Ann Coulter, goes crazy, not in a good way either, when people say stuff like this. But when you look at Asians in this country, Asian immigrants to this country, you can almost, they are still aspiring to what a lot of us aspire to, except they're probably a lot further along in achieving it. When I see these Asian families, I know a lot of Asians, I know a lot of immigrants, especially in the San Francisco Bay Area. When you meet them, they have this vision of America as a place of hard work and family and education and upward mobility. And that's how they roll. That's how most of us listening to this video think we are rolling. And now we get this 87-year-old professor, Asian professor, on the streets of New York pulling out some money out of an ATM. Some black person not worthy of breathing the same air as this Asian professor comes along, beats him, and kills him. For what? I don't really think a lot of us fully realize what we lose when we lose a person like that Asian professor, when we shrug our shoulders and say, well, that's just life in the big city. And Colin, don't you know, crime is down 87% all over the country, and this never happens except for when it does. Let's take a look at one of the news stories about this great Asian immigrant tragedy.
New details on a brutal attack inside an ATM on the Upper West Side. 87-year-old professor was left critically injured in Sunday's robbery, and he has died from his injuries. Young Kun Kim was a professor at Lehman College. He was well known in the neighborhood. 50-year-old Matthew Lee was arrested and charged in that attack.
Matthew, why'd you attack that man? Matthew, you know he's brain dead, right? You don't got anything to say for yourself? Matthew?
Yes, I do.
Did you do it, Matthew?
I don't remember.
You don't remember doing it. There's video of you doing it, Matthew. Do you deny that?
Talk to my lawyer. Something's not right. Bad spirit. Something.
Matthew, why'd you attack that man?
So now it's all about bad
Matthew,
spirits.
You know he's brain dead, right?
The bad spirits didn't keep that fellow from recognizing one thing for sure. He better find a lawyer and treat him as a lifeline if he has any hope of ever walking the streets of New York again. And by the way, he does have hopes of that. If you're near your computer, well, you are because you're watching this on your computer, most of you, a lot of you. Google the expression African American mental illness or black people mental illness, and you'll see the numbers are just astronomical. 25, 30, 35, 40% of black people, that's self-reporting. That's what they report. I don't know what it would be like if we actually sat them down and gave them a test. Any kind of basic test for sanity. Any kind of basic test that would help us measure how so many people tolerate and excuse this ridiculous level of black criminality that we see on full display here. The psychologists are always so ready when it comes to black people. They're always so ready with these political/sociological explanations. When you ask them if they ever test black people, the way they give white people a test called the symbolic racism test to measure just exactly how much of an evil racist person all of us are, they shrug their shoulders and they look at you as if you don't know what you're talking about. We know what we're talking about. That there's something really, really wrong going on in this country, and the people we depend upon to let us know it's happening and to do something about it when they see it happening are totally letting us down, all for one stupid ass reason that cost this 87-year-old dude his life. They just didn't want to make the black kids angry.